Welcome back. We're live, trying to see if we can get this thing going. A lot of developments that I wanted to talk to you about today. I'm honored to have a special guest in the house with me. But before we get into who the special guest is, I wanted to start off by updating you on what we got coming up. First of all, let me say this. Thank you to all of the people who watched both the post mayor forum analysis and the post council forum analysis. We had several people online that were watching live, and we've had a whole bunch of people that have watched since the recording. Today we're not recording live, but I did want to say thank you to everyone who has been following the Centrist. Remember, go out to the Centrist on YouTube, Centrist Alabama on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the red subscribe button, and you can get the new videos that get put up as we put them on YouTube. But more importantly, make sure that you go out to centristalabama.com. We got the Centrist commentary. We're actually starting to get sponsors now, which helps us to bring you more content, more information from not only Alexander City, but from around the state. And then we have the Facebook page, The Centrist, or you can find it with Alabama Centrist if I'm not mistaken. But all you got to do is look up Sean Bland and follow the links to the Centrist Alabama. But we got two real cool things coming up. We got a live coverage of a meeting that I'm understanding is going to take place on Monday that was started by a Facebook campaign where all of our listeners and people that follow us on Facebook contacted Jim Spann, the president of the council, and also Mayor Shaw, and asked them for one meeting or official meeting or something to let the voters have an opportunity to find out what's going on with city politics. That meeting was confirmed. Now we're just waiting for the specifics. I think it's going to be 4 o'clock on Monday before election, so I think that's August the 22nd. And then, of course, we're going to try and stream that live when it starts at either 4 or 4:30. And then, this is the cool thing, we're going to have live election coverage on August the 23rd from City Hall, and we're also going to be breaking in on WKGA 97.5, if I'm not mistaken, with live election updates. So we got all kinds of stuff going on in the next few days, but before we get into all that cool stuff, I have a great special guest, a friend of mine. I was around when he ran 4 years ago, and I got to know him then. Bobby Tapley, councilman for District 1. Councilman, how you doing?
Doing well.
What it is that Bobby, I invited Bobby as a council person. I invited all of the council people and the mayor to, if they wanted to have an opportunity to kind of come in and tell us about what they've done, the accomplishments, kind of tell about what it's been like the last 4 years from their perspective, what they've learned, and just to sit down and talk with us and let us learn a little bit more about what being either a council person or a mayor has been. Bobby has been like the lone wolf on several occasions, making decisions for the city and District 1. I actually call him part of the tapestry in District 1. So we're not going to talk specifically about the future because that's campaign oriented. We're going to talk about today and before now. So let me just start off simply with this. What has it been like being a council person?
Well, I truly enjoyed being a council person because when I got elected, I didn't want to be just being an elected official. I wanted to become a part of the community.
Yep.
And be considered family in the average household. So that's what my goal was in life, once elected, is to get out in the community, be a part of the community, be seen,
Yep.
to be easily accessible. When someone needs something, they feel like, hey, well, I know Bobby well enough, I can call him. And that's what I enjoy. I give my cell phone number out to everyone to call me, ask them if they've got somebody sick to let me know. I'll be happy to pray with them, go to the hospital, go to the nursing home, just whatever.
And a lot of people don't know that, and I know this because we've talked on several occasions. You're big with your faith.
Mm-hmm.
You've been and it's been both part of your work, your business, your home, and also your government situation. And tell us how you've been able to kind of use that to get through these last 4 years.
A lot of prayer, a lot of things that's happened, and I don't ever make a decision without praying about what I need to do. I ask for wisdom for God on each thing. I just don't jump up that morning and say I'm voting against this because that's the way I feel. I always pray about it. I look at all the information that's given. If it adds up, I'm for it. If it not, I'm against it.
Yep.
And like I said at the forum, I'd rather be criticized for doing what's right than praised for what's doing what's wrong, because I'm the one that has to go home at night wondering, did I make the right decision?
And somebody's going to always not appreciate your decision one way or the other.
They're not going to agree with you always.
Now, you started off with a bit of controversy 4 years ago because your race was the first race that ended up in a dead even tie.
Yes.
A dead even tie. I don't think many races that I've had in my lifetime have ever had a tie. So you were able to persevere after that. What was it like finally getting into that chair, and what was the feeling of having to start making decisions for your district?
Well, the first thought is you think you know everything before you're elected, because when you're on the street, I don't know why they did this, why do they make that decision. Then when you get there, you realize you really didn't know everything that actually went on. So it's a learning experience when you go in there green, thinking you know everything, and then you find out you don't. And that's part of being wise. You realize, hey, I don't know everything that I need to know, and that's why you start listening to people who've been there before, listening to your constituents, listen to ministers, whatever it takes to gain that wisdom and gain the knowledge. Get all the facts you can, put them together, and make the best decision on what you feel is best for your community. And my thing is, it's not best for what's Bobby Tapley, it's best what's what the city first, my community second, because that's what I was elected to be, is be a voice for my community, and that's what I've always tried to be.
Now, in those 4 years, you've had a lot of ups and downs, good projects, bad projects, whatever. What are some of the things that you're most proud of in the 4 years that you have been council person? Something that you feel you can hang your hat on and say, I did good when I did those things.
Well, the sales tax increased for the road paving. I think that was something great for this city. Before we were elected, it was tar and gravel, and that's all I heard while I was campaigning.
Yeah.
We do not want tar and gravel on our roads.
It was tar and gravel then, it's finances now, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
But I think that's one of the biggest accomplishments we've made, because we have paved more roads and asphalt than they have in the last 20 years, 15 to 20 years. So that's something to be proud of. We saw a vision that we wanted to bring Alex City back. We wanted to invest in our downtown, invest in our EDA, invest in our chamber. And like I said during the forum, we started out investing in the chamber. It's like $47,000 annually. Well, these past couple of years, we've invested about $130,000 or so annually in there, with sponsoring Sunfest, with sponsoring Chamber, with the retail study and all that we've done, trying to give them the tools that they need to help bring our city back to what we'd like to see: more retail, more places to eat. We want that. We want that for downtown.
Now, those are the good things. Are there any projects or decisions or whatever that you kind of sat back and said, maybe I could have done this a little different, or you just weren't as proud of those particular decisions?
I really don't know. I've always prayed about it, so the decisions I made I made decisions based on what I thought was best.
So you pretty much feel good about the majority of what you've been able to get into.
No, like we hadn't always agreed on things. Like I've said, the surprising
Yes.
thing most people don't understand, this council has agreed unanimously. 97.5% of the time, we voted unanimous.
Yep.
There's 1% or less that we've been a split council, and it's always been on issues that we either don't have all the information or things we thought was done incorrectly that the city could get sued for. And I don't want my name on this lawsuit, so I'm always going to vote what's on the safe side, what's best in the city, regardless. Okay. Even if I'm criticized for it, I'm going to do what I think is best for the city.
So I know that a lot of people don't realize. I know the mayor kind of alluded to some in his opening statement and closing statement. Sherry alluded to some in her opening and closing. You alluded to some in your opening and closing. What are some of the accomplishments that this is? When I say administration, the collective group, even though we've been on the news and everything else, there have been a lot of accomplishments that y'all have done. What are some of those things?
Well, since we've been elected, since 2012, the EDA has brought, I think, around 1,400 jobs.
Okay.
Tens of $millions have been invested in companies relocating here or expanding, which brought a good tax base to our schools. You know, we abate taxes, city tax stuff, but they have to pay the school taxes. Some of those abatements on some of these companies are rolling off at the end of this year, so which is going to help our city grow in finances. Road paving, what we said, partnered with the chamber to bring Sunfest here because that has brought a lot of tourism. We partnered with the Sportsplex to bring fishing tournaments here, collegiate and high school tournaments. And you know, I've always volunteered every tournament that's come to town that's hosted out at the Sportsplex. I've always been there serving the fishermen, welcoming them here, letting them see this. You know, the city council, we really believe in our city. We believe in what we're doing, so we're always there handing out food and welcoming packets and all.
Now, you know, we've talked about roads and you talked about some of the infrastructure. Are there any projects that we're in the middle of right now that you think the citizens need to know about right now?
Well, our sewer bond, we paid a sewer bond off 2 years ago, and we're investing about $2 million a year. Gerard gave us a budget that said he needs $14 million in 7 years to get all our sewer upgraded to where it should be to keep EPA off our backs. That's one of the major things going on, is to make sure our sewer's up to grade. They running the cameras, they're fixing cracked pipes, collapsed pipes. Our sewer department's doing a great job in that. So infrastructure-wise, that's the biggest thing right now.
Are we getting any closer on closing the gap on infrastructure?
They have gone a long ways. We still got 5 more years in that 7-year plan to go, but they leaps and bounds. Our ISO, I think not ISO, our overflow, I can't remember the acronym for that, was enormous when we took office. The sewer department has done a great job of getting those down. We got fined by EPA, which was the lowest amount they could fine us back last year for about $25,000 based on the program that we have in place, that we've reduced it and they see our plan. So they said, okay, we're just going to slap y'all with a minimum fine.
Okay. Parks and Rec. You talked a little bit about some stuff that was going on at Sportsplex. Cooper is in your area. How's that going? Do you see any improvements or things that you've been a part of, or projects that have been on the horizon that are kind of in the works right now that you want to tell us about?
Cooper, it was one of the biggest things this year. The poo pump had went out, and you know, that was something that needed to be repaired. According to Sonny and the mayor, it was going to take 4 weeks to get the pump in. They'd have to drain the poo, get everything fixed, and it was only going to leave 1 week of the season left. So the poo pump motor's only a warranty for 1 year. So their thoughts were, and we agreed, why fix a pump for 1 week? Next year, if that motor is bad, then we were going to be out of a pump again. So the decision was made to put in the budget this year to have that pump fixed the first of next year. So when the season came in again for swimming at the pool, that it would be pumped, ready, full. And one thing the city did to really help the community out, those kids who were not able to swim at Cooper Rec Center, they provided transportation. The city did.
So they were able to get to the pool.
Right. They had a daily route that picked everybody up at the Cooper Rec Center, drove them to the city pool. When the city pool closed, they took them back free of charge just to accommodate the inconvenience, because Cooper Rec Center is vital in District 1. It's used a lot to host parties, conventions, and events for the community. It was, I feel strongly about Cooper Rec Center because it is the heart of the Northside community.
Okay.
And it needs to be there, and it needs to be taken care of. T.C. Coley's done a great job with the computer lab for donating money out of the Commissioners Fund to get that up and going. So the children over there, or adults who didn't have internet access or computers at home, they've got a place where they can come and take care of things.
What other projects in District 1 have you seen kind of flourish since you took over?
Community involvement, because like I said, I stay in District 1. I love District 1. I'm like family to a lot of people in District 1, and their family.
Nothing like good family is.
No.
Okay.
I worked with a lot of my constituents in District 1 back in the Russell years. Became really close with them at that time, and have really been able to rebond and become a bigger part in their families and them in mine. My district is not, I represent the district. I am part of the district. My district is family to me. I love my district, and I'll fight for my district to make sure they get their needs met.
Okay. City Hall, I know it would be, I mean, I already asked the important question about the changes in District 1 because that's your district, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we're not going to get deep. I don't like talking about personal issues when it comes to finances or anything else, but what do you see currently that, because you know at one point we had, the council had said they wanted this resolved by I think October or November is the mandate that they had kind of put out. Do you see that happening at this point in time?
Well, it's hard to say with all the roadblocks that keeps being thrown up. And,
Okay.
you know, the council has always worked really well together. Even when we disagree, we agree to disagree, and we don't let anything come between us. We're all really good friends. We're all talk to each other. When the council meeting's over with, it's left at the council. We don't ever hold anything personal.
So why, and you can tell me that I'm getting a little crazy, and I'm not, this is not a gotcha type situation, but you're painting a picture of people that are getting along, but for some reason, the people that are watching or people that have never really I know what it's like because I've talked to you and several other of the council people. Why is the perception that there's so much division? In your opinion, I mean, that's all you can't say for sure, but why is it that perception, I guess?
I guess the way it's portrayed in the outlook online, because behind the scenes we're all good friends. I would do anything for any one of the council members as well as anybody in my community.
Okay.
Feel like I was put on this earth to serve people. That's what I get the most joy, is serving people, helping people.
Well, it goes along with that Christian mindset that you were talking about earlier. So
yeah, you touch on that. That's one of my biggest ministries when I'm out and about, whether I'm on real estate, my job in Wetumpka, or while I'm out in the community, is to minister to people, to pray with the sick. For those who don't know Christ, I try to lead them to know Christ. 3 Friday nights ago, I was campaigning. There was a guy, he had some illness, so we got to praying. And I asked him, I said, do you know Christ? Have you accepted him? He says, no. He said, but I plan on going to church this Sunday. I said, but what if you don't make it to this Sunday? I said, would you like to be saved today? I said, because we can say the sinner's prayer, and you can be saved tonight in case tomorrow don't come. So that's one of the biggest things that I enjoy about campaigning, because God puts people in my life that needs Him. And that night I was able to lead him to Christ. And it's not what I did, it's what Christ did through me. And I thank God for Him using me in that role.
Question that you bring that up. You know, we've had issues in the past with the shooting and some other things that went on. Um, do you see relations in the city in a do you see things as being pretty good, or do you think that there might be a little room for improvement? What do you see when you look out in your district and in the city overall as far as how things actually are?
From a personal standpoint, everything's fine because me and you are
We
alike.
talking,
But
right?
not everybody sees people like I am or people like you are. There's still differences out there, but
Right.
it takes good people to bridge that gap to say, hey, we may be black and white, but that doesn't mean we're different. But some people still don't want to see that on both sides of the coin.
How do you and a lot of people don't understand, and I guess I'm breaking a little taboo by even asking you this. You'll love this. You're a white guy in a predominantly black district. Has that been a problem?
No, it hadn't. I walk the streets. I'm over there 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and I feel safe because I know most
Now,
of
to clear
everybody over
things
there.
up, over where? Because a lot of people don't understand what you mean by over there.
When I'm over in North Side or in the
Okay.
projects where there's a housing authority.
And to me, that's one of the things that I think a lot of people get crossed with is they think that there are pockets and that people shouldn't go to or couldn't go. But you're an example of in your 4 years, you've pretty much just been everywhere.
Yeah.
It's you don't. I mean, I guess you don't mind having dialogue with people. It doesn't matter who they are, just people. From what I gather, from what you're saying.
Well, God only created humans. That's what He created. He didn't create white and black. He created
I got you.
human.
I
He
got
put
you.
more pigment in your skin than He did in my skin.
Yeah,
And that's the only
pigmentless.
Yeah.
So okay. I mean, I asked that question because there's so much unrest, and I just find it strange that people get caught up and try to make it seem like that's just a blanket everywhere. But there are frustrations in all groups. It's just that how do you solve those problems?
You've got to become a part of the community and get to know people. That's the only way you can bridge gaps is proclaim Christ. And if you're really a Christian, you're going to try to bring the community together.
Yep.
Unity is what it's all about. And that's what I would love to see in our community. With everything that's going on around the world and in this country, unity is the one thing that can bring people together. And what I'd like to see is when it cools off, to have every minister in Alexander City or surrounding communities get together, have a church service or a community unity service out at the sportsplex, where you have every denomination,
Non-denominational, whatever.
that you have everybody at the sportsplex have a community program of unity, and not Early Rose, you sit in this group, First Baptist, you sit over there. Everybody mingle together. That's when you got true unity, when people get to know each other. And that's what I would like to see.
Now, last night you were in your district and we both went to a meeting together. Good first step, you think?
I think so, because it got I think Dr. Cooper and Dr.
For what people don't know, we went to the meeting that Dr. Cooper and Dr. Wilkerson spearheaded regarding the issue with the nappy hair incident or whatever you want to call it. And a lot of people did not realize that that's the first time that I'm aware of that the superintendent and the principal both made themselves available at Cooper Rec Center to discuss issues. And I thought from that perspective it was a very good first step. Would you agree with that?
I'll agree with you, because from what I gathered from the meeting was Dr. Wilkerson didn't realize that what he had heard in the hallways is people calling a nappy look was offensive. Whether right or wrong, He didn't realize. Now,
It's
without
clear.
doubt, it's clear.
after last night, it's clear.
Yeah, and I know that he will not use that word
Yeah.
again because he found out it's offensive.
Now, with you going into the districts and you having to have these conversations with people, both good conversations and probably some tough conversations, have you had any missteps or issues?
I had one guy one night that had been drinking.
But it's possible though.
Yes,
and
it is.
and I think that's something that a lot of people are not realizing, is that no one's gonna get things perfect. Now, if they continue to do it, it becomes an issue. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But if it's one of those deals where the person gets it, realizes, and takes responsibility, that at least starts the dialogue of being able to start getting involved and making some changes. But if they continue to make those same mistakes and have the same issues, I can see where you would need to go to a new level on that situation.
Right.
Is that a good way?
I would agree with that. My thing has always been, you don't ever make a mistake. If you learn from what you did, it's a learning experience. If you continue to do the same thing,
Yeah, it wasn't learning.
no. So
you're going after it for real.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Because we all mess up in life, but did you learn from what you messed up on? And if you did and you changed, it's just like being a Christian. When you find out you're doing something wrong, you repent, you turn from it. But if you keep going back to what you've been doing and keep repenting, well, you hadn't learned a thing.
Now, anything else you want to say about the 4 years you've been District 1's counselor?
I'd just like to say I really enjoyed what I've done. I feel like I've accomplished a lot. I've always remained positive, non-confrontational. I've always voted what my convictions are, what my heart tells me to do, what wisdom and others have spoken to me. I've always done what is right. And nobody's ever going to agree with you every time.
Every time.
But as long as I can lay my head down at night and feel like I've done what is right, then I'm satisfied with what I've done. And I was told when I ran 4 years ago by a previous council member who I respect, he said, Bobby, there's going to come a time when you're going to have to make decisions based on what's best for the city, and it's going to go against your morals. Are you going to be able to make that decision? And I didn't realize what he was talking about until it came time for the entertainment district to allow alcohol at the sportsplex and things like that. Personally, I would say no, but it's not what I think. Personally, my own morals, I have to do what's best for the city. So I've made judgments based on what's best for the city, what I was elected for. People didn't elect me to get up there on my soapbox and be grandstanding. I'm going to do this because it's what I want to do. I was elected to do what the people wants and what the people needs.
You know, I can't help it. I was going to close it out, but you've stated something that is a very interesting ideal to me, and maybe you can help kind of clarify it from your perspective. So, people always talk about they need Christians in office, but I've always argued that you need good people who are Christians in office that will make decisions for everyone. But just because a person says they're a Christian doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do Christian things. If they are truly in the Christian piece, then when they take office, they're going to make decisions that are right for everyone in that particular situation, realizing that their faith is a part of them, but not necessarily the same. You know, they're making a decision for society at that point in time. How does that line up? Because you made that last point, and it was kind of interesting that you have your personal morals and your own personal convictions, but you make the decisions that you make for what's best for your entire district and for the city, because that's what you were elected for. How does that match up in those two, I guess? That's a big question, and I'm sorry, but...
No, I can answer that one pretty simple.
Okay.
When it came to pass for the entertainment district, I had strong convictions about not doing that, and I had prayed about it, Lord, give me wisdom. One morning I got up getting ready to go to work, And he dropped it in my spirit. People may think you crazy when you say you hear from God, but we got the conscience and we hear.
Mhm.
And it was dropped in my spirit. It says, why would you treat them any different than anyone else? When I walked on this earth, I walked amongst everyone. I didn't not go over here because he was doing this and stay with the saints. The people over here is the one who needs saved. They need to see me. And I said, thank you. I knew what I needed to do then, because if I made a stance that I don't want people downtown drinking, then I'm singling them out, saying that I'm better than they are. So it was an easy decision once I prayed and really sought God's advice. And I may get criticized tonight for that, but I'm going to do what I feel is right. And I do pray, and I do, when I hear from God, I vote what I believe is right.
And I'm going to ask you one last question. I promise you I'll let you go. But you've said so much good stuff that I think that our listeners, you kind of sucked me in, so I know our listeners are sucked in. Does it make it a little easier with your convictions and your faith to be able to walk the walk and be okay with it?
Yes, because when I'm in my district, I don't care if you're on your front porch drinking, if you're outside playing cards, dominoes. I don't care what you do, and I don't judge you for that. I come in as a positive light to treat you the way you should be treated. It doesn't matter to me what walk of life you are, whether you're the poorest person in town or the richest in town. I don't see color. I don't see wealth. All I see is a human that I'm put on this earth to witness to. And that's how I live my life. I treat everybody the same regardless of where you come from, because I didn't grow up the richest kid in town, and I know how it feels to be mistreated, and I'm not going to ever treat anybody the way that I wouldn't want to be treated.
But I don't think you can say anything more than that. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, District 1 Councilperson Bobby Tapley pretty much laid it on the line tonight, and I thank you for coming. I appreciate you taking the time out to come and just kind of put it on camera how you feel and what you've been doing and what the people have seen in District 1. And I appreciate your hard work in Alexander City. Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, go out, like. If you watch this video, like it, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. But most of all, August the 23rd, go and vote. Till the next time, like I said, live broadcast on Monday, live broadcast on Tuesday. We got a lot of live broadcasts now that I think about it. And now we got this broadcast that you can watch several times if you like. Don't forget our sponsors, Wise Point, and then also Human and Business Solutions. And we have a new sponsor coming, MXK Events. So till the next time, I appreciate you watching and listening, and we'll keep the commentaries coming.